Hey folks, and welcome to They Might Be Racing. Right now we are underneath my TR8, and what we're doing today is changing the oil. We're still trying to get this particular car to pass emissions. I have to admit, I took a pretty long break in working on it, and dusted it off after Christmas, and we're now out here just sort of reassessing and cleaning up. At the present time, we've leaned it out and done some other work, but one of the things I noted is the oil has a bit of a gas smell to it, so I don't know if this is because the car was running super duper rich when I bought it, or what. So we're going to go ahead and change the oil and pick out anything that's in there. So right here is the oil drain plug for the TR8. I have to use my 1 1/8 inch wrench to knock this particular bad boy loose. And then once it's loose, you simply unthread it by hand. Now you want to note that this is on the side of the oil pan, which generally means oil shoots sideways. So be ready to shift the oil pan the second the oil starts coming out, so that you're directly underneath it. Now, one of the things you always do when changing your oil, aside from getting dirty, is you want to check your drain plug. So in this particular case, what we're looking at here, it's got a copper washer on it. It's still in pretty good shape. The threads are in good shape and clean. And I know, oops, that's what I was telling you about watching your oil. I know that it does adequately seal the engine, so we're going to go ahead and put it back in once we're done draining. Now, before I move on to the next step, obviously I have to let the car completely drain. What we're going to do next is remove the oil filter. The oil filter is right here at the front of the block, just offset of the crank. It's pointed downward a little bit, but it's also a source of possible leakages, so we're going to have to make sure that we get the drain pan up here and ready to go. What I'll do is I'll hang out here and wait for this to finish draining, and then we'll move on to the next step. At this stage, through the magic of the internet, we've drained all the oil and replaced the oil drain plug and torqued it down correctly so that it's not too tight and not too loose. The next step is the oil filter. Now, sometimes you can remove it by hand, other times you need a little assistance. The filters that I've got on here use a size C oil filler cap wrench, or you can use one of these adjustable wrenches. Just go ahead and press it on. And all you really want to do is bust it loose so that you can turn it. There we go. So then, make sure to draw your oil pan forward. Otherwise, you run the chance of dumping oil all over everywhere and yourself. And go ahead and unthread it. You can see the oil start coming out. The other thing you're going to want to do is when you draw this oil filter off, is bring it down and then tip it out into the drain pan. And once you've got the worst of it out, you can stand it up, wipe it off, and set it aside. This particular car seems to like to drain out of here for a bit, so normally what I do is I give it a few seconds to drain out of here. Try to give everything a clean. There is a little screen up there, which is a good thing to check while you're at it. Make sure it's not goobered up. And it looks good. So, my next step is to very simply put the new oil filter on, which inevitably, just like every other time I change oil, I left on the bench. So, I'll be right back. Alright, so I got my oil filter, and the other thing I did is I took some fresh oil, put it on the O-ring around the oil filter, and one trick to get it to set right is actually spin it the wrong way, and then spin it the right way for it to thread on. And I seem to be extra special challenged at seating oil filters this weekend. nicely. Sometimes I guess it's just a matter of changing your angle. So basically, spin this on, and once it's snug, go ahead and give it a bit more of a turn. Get it good and tight, but just hand tight. Don't over tighten it. And you're good. So while you're still down here, double check that you've tightened your oil filter correctly and that you've tightened the bolt on your oil pan correctly, and we're ready to start putting oil in the car. So we're going to move up to the top. So here we are back again up above the car. This particular engine takes 4.65 quarts of oil. So you go ahead and you pour it all in there. And basically, once you're done pouring in all your oil, I like to do one last check of everything, make sure everything's tight, and you're done. And then don't forget to take your oil into AutoZone or wherever you bought it from and get it recycled properly. Until next time, happy driving.